Tank 400 looks like a freaking awesome car. No, it's not in Australia, and no, I am not aware of any plans to bring it to Australia, but same as with Tank 500 that we took a look at disassembly of not long ago. I would love to share my impressions with you from this footage from some other channels that I've watched. I have thoughts about this. If this is your cup of tea and you would like to discuss the possibilities of Tank 400 in Australia, why it would make sense, what would make it awesome, why I think it would fly off the shelf, honestly, then stick around. Let's continue talking about this. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Dimitri and this is Value Cars Australia. We're talking about GWM vehicles and Tank, specifically the lineup of Tank. Well, first and foremost, I believe that as soon as GWM basically pulled Haval H9 from the shores, yeah, I'm aware that it was here in Australia a few years ago and even to some limited amount of success as a kind of clone and a replica of Toyota Prado, obviously a very, very popular, let's call it 4x4 on a frame SUV for active lifestyle and family adventures as well. Kind of great combination of off-roading capabilities, like really true proper off-roading capabilities, robustness, as well as navigating city traffic nicely. Yeah, that's what Prado is. And Haval H9 fit into that category. Problem is, well, I don't know exactly what financially caused this pull for GWM in Australia, but ultimately, as we watched the Russian commentary, the Russian channel not long ago, I agree with Ilya from Klubny Service, who says that it's very, very hard for the company to bring in something that competes for a place of a beloved model or beloved kind of specific vehicle, such as the like literal copy of Toyota Prado. That was the misfortune of Haval H9. Why such a long preamble, you would say, Dimitri? Like, why are you talking about Prado and why are you talking about Haval H9? Because, my friend, I believe that Tank 400 that is now very, very successfully launched in China, I think that this vehicle potentially would fit the gap of that fake Toyota Prado, yeah, or Toyota 4Runner. Another model that is not even in Toyota lineup, it's not very available here in Australia. Maybe, let me know in the comments down below, maybe it's one of those historic things that I'm unaware of, and maybe at some point we had 4Runners here in Australia, but we don't. So what I'm talking about here is that, first of all, very, very popular design, very popular niche. It's not too boxy, it's a little more SUV and more urban than, let's say, Tank 300 or let's say Jeep Wrangler completely, yeah, that Tank 300 is a replica of. So Tank 300 is slightly different before we continue talking about this and before you try to correct me here. Tank 300 has its own niche, but it's a smaller niche, I would dare say. I would dare say that Tank 300 occupies a smaller niche, more of off-roaders and boxy cars, like really unapologetically boxy. That's what I love it for. But Tank 400, as well as Prado, as well as Haval H9 used to, they are fitting that slightly more accepted SUV, lifted SUV with massive 4x4 and towing capabilities. That is the main punchline of this video. That is my main thought, and the rest of it is gonna add to the picture. I hope you like this narrative. If you do, now is your chance to give me a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's keep talking about it. You could go and get yourself another cup of tea. I'll wait. What do I like about Tank 400? Tank 400 looks like it's not curvy, but it's not crazy boxy either. I'm okay with boxiness, like give me boxy, I'm cool. But I still love slightly more aggressive, slightly sharper edges, slightly boxier look of this 4x4 Toyota Prado Far Cry clone. Yeah, I like what it looks like. I do. It's aggressive. It's not too out there, but at the same time, it's out there enough not to be boring, not to be another one of those. I don't even know what brand is passing by, like, you know, Mitsubishi or Nissan, and they all look kind of SUV, slightly lifted, and all very curved. That is a bit. I think GWM could really undercut the competition by introducing this familiar yet slightly edgier literally shape. Yeah. Now, Wheelsboy of China, he's an American man who lives in China, very much like his channel. Always respect when I reuse other people's content, always give credit, and in the comments down below, credit to his video, and the original video is there, please check it out. Wheelsboy has done, obviously it was an official review of the car somewhere on the Tank 400 introduction grounds there in China, where he recorded his video. Watch the original, it's in English, so I'm not going to repeat what he said, but I'm sort of quite a lot relying here on his footage, obviously. And he said that while in the city it still drives not like the most comfortable SUV, which I appreciated the honesty there, but probably partially because the lift, partially because of the leaf spring suspension. Leaf spring suspension in an SUV, not in a ute. That's slightly weird for me personally, but it suggests ruggedness and it suggests big possibly carry weight, and he said in his video that it's only 2.5 tons towing capacity, which you would argue could be higher, but I would argue that you have to be rather insane to tow anything that's heavier than the vehicle itself. I'm with John Cadogan on this, and I think that's just unsafe. These cars, you might want to, and it might be able to on a straight line, but you potentially are opening yourself to a massive amount of issues, which is why, so I want to close the book on that point straight away if anyone tries to drift off there. I think that 2.5 tons towing capacity for a vehicle like Tank 400 or anything similar is more than enough. It should be more than enough. So yeah, Wheelsboy is saying that it's not particularly amazing to drive and handle in the city, but nothing too offensive either. But where the vehicle starts shining is in the off-road, he says. Like, he is not an experienced off-roader. I like how he comments on this, quite vulnerable, quite funny, you know, like that's why I do recommend that you watch his video. I'm not gonna try to repeat everything he said. But yeah, he says that the car definitely, even though he's uncertain a little bit in his maneuvering of the 4x4 kind of course that is given to them by GWM, presumably, where they were testing these vehicles, he says that the car handles fantastically well and he feels very comfortable in it. What else stands out to me? It looks luxurious. It certainly looks vastly more luxurious than Toyota would ever give you, my friends. Within anything close to this price category. We don't know if they came to Australia, what kind of price tag they would put on them. But here's my bet. It would be more expensive than Tank 300, but it would be much cheaper than Toyota Prado. That's my high level prediction. And you probably would say, duh, Dimitri, yeah, you know, like it's pretty damn obvious. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe to some people it's not. But I think it would be an affordable, solid, awesome looking, in my humble opinion, off-road capable vehicle. Yeah, you let me know. Time for us to start wrapping up. You let me know what you think. What do you think of the luxurious leather seats? What do you think of ginormous infotainment screen that I personally don't care about? And it's still GWM Haval, so I'm a bit, you know, like, I'll believe it when I see it. I hope that they update the software and it's not, you know, janky or anything like that. But at the same time, it does look promising, it does look modern, it looks like it has all possible controls, diff locks and everything else, as Wheelsboy is showing in his video specifically. Yeah, leaf spring suspension at the back certainly suggests that it's going to be heavy, it's going to be handling heavy, it's not going to be smooth sailing there down the urban roads, but off-road and with loaded up back of the car probably is going to be fine. What I also like as a camper, you know, as a camping inclined person, not in a tent but in a car camper, I like that the body of the car looks longer by a little bit. I haven't compared official specifications, but it looks a little longer than, say, Tank 300. So if you actually wanted to put a double mattress at the back and just camp on a cheap, like very easily, and that is what I like as a format, then Tank 400 would give us potentially more than Tank 300 would. Yeah. What else stood out to me? A lot of electronics again. So Wheelsboy mentioned that even the rear view mirror is not an actual mirror, but it's a digitally enabled mirror, and those kind of things. So the more digital innards, the more digital things are put in instead of analog things that those cars, the robust off-roaders, are kind of known for and where they come from historically, the more slightly apprehensive I get. I have faith in GWM as one particular Chinese brand in Australia. I do, because I see what I drive, I see what I inspect, and I also take in a lot of information from Russian channels and from Wheelsboy in this particular case about Tank 400. So I do have faith in the workmanship of GWM, yeah. But at the same time, the more electronics, the more potential for glitches and the more potential for some disappointment. I don't want to take us back into the beaten to death topic of emergency lane keeping that's invasive and that cannot be turned off. Well, first of all, good chances that the Tank 400 would still have it. And secondly, good chances that the more electronics, the more of something else might be there that we don't even know about yet until we sit in the car and drive it, that would, like, say speculatively, say they've done something that Chery did and they put driver monitoring system in with the camera that looks at you constantly, and as soon as you like look the other way or put sunglasses on and it stops recognizing you, it will be like, "You unfit for driving, stop, stop, stop." Imagine that. I'll trade in the car back immediately, right? But what I am really looking forward to, and what potentially would come our way much sooner than that happens, is maybe some insights on Tank 400 from Russia. Because so far, I understand Tank 400 is not in Russia yet. But Tank 500 is, Tank 300 is, you know, Haval M6 is. So there are a lot of new cars coming there still, right? From GWM, from Haval. Do you like it more than Tank 300? Second level question. Do you like it more than averagely available right now Toyota Prado? Yeah. Third question, bonus question for those of you who are car enthusiasts who know what they're talking about. What do you reckon the price is going to be if it was to come to Australia? Let's speculate, because speculation is fun. People say sometimes to me in the comments like, Dimitri, why do you talk about cars that are not in Australia? Well, firstly, because every other mainstream channel that's paid by the brands talks only about the cars that are in Australia, so it's boring as hell. And second of all, because I'm interested, because I'm an owner and an enthusiast. Hopefully it answers some of your questions. Thank you very much for tuning in today. It was lovely to talk to you about Tank 400, and you know, a man can dream. That's part of the fun of living life. Let me know what you think. Goodbye for now, and I'll talk to you next time.